Hey holiday crafters, Pam here. I'm working on a project today and I'm going to be making a lot of little signs. So I thought you guys might enjoy sitting in on it while I work. Well, I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to be making little signs like this right here. Can you see this right here? It says pumpkin patch. I'm going to be making several of these today. Okay. Now, my project is actually a cluster of 3 post pumpkins I'm going to show you, so you'll get a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing. This is a post pumpkin, very rustic post pumpkin, and we've drilled a hole in the top right here, and we cut a stick that we're going to be using for the stem of the pumpkin. See? But now I'm going to let this stem dry out. It's been drying out now for a couple of weeks before I actually attach it in here because I want it to shrink down. But the idea is it's going to be a cluster of 3 different levels of pumpkins right here. And I'm going to be putting a big rope around all 3. And then I'm going to be placing a little sign on it with the rope holding it that will say pumpkin patch. So there's my project for today. So let me set this out of the way and I'll get started here. Okay. Now, I've already cut out the wood pieces that I'm using. It doesn't matter what kind of wood. Whatever I've got is what I cut out and I use. I like to see this sealer right here. This is sand and sealer. What I like to do, I like to put a dabble of it on here. Now, I don't freak out over using my hands at all, but I want this sealer on this board, so I will wipe it all over the board, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I'm going to let it dry. Now, it doesn't take much. It's going to go a long way. Like I said, I'm not really worried about it being on my hands at all. And then I'm going to set it aside and let it dry. Now I'll do several of these at once in different stages. At this point, it brings it to here. After it's dried, which is this one right here is already dried, then I'm going to sand it. And what that sealer does, it puffs up the wood particles and it makes it stand up so I can sand off those wood particles. Dust it off, and it feels extremely slick. So that makes it ready for doing some painting. You need it really, really slick whenever you're doing lettering because it just makes it flow easier and the letters look more crisp. Okay. Now, after I sand the top off, I'm going to go through here and I'm going to put this towel down because I don't want to mess up what I got here. I'm gonna sand the edges a little bit on this top like that. Now that gets this side. Now it's still going to be extremely rough through here. So my favorite little tool in the world is a little Dremel. I love the little Dremels. Oh, looks like my light went crazy here. Let's see if I can fix my light for you guys. Let's see. That is a little bit better. Okay, but I love this little handy Dremel tool right here. So it's going to make a little bit of noise, okay guys? So all I love to do my sanding with this because I love how it knocks off those sharp edges better than me rubbing it with the sandpaper. Okay, and again I'm gonna work on those edges like this. I don't like sharp edges on my signs. I like them really rounded. to the point where you won't get hurt if you touch it. Okay, that's really all it takes for that. The little Dremel tool is excellent. And then I go over it again with my hand to make sure I get it like I want it and make sure it's real slick and clean. Okay. Just like that. Okay, see how nice that looks? So then this one's ready to be painted now. Here we go. So I'm going to set this to the side. Now, the next thing I do you see the orange stripes? I like little orange stripes for the background for my signs when it comes to the fall. So that's what we're going to be doing next. We're going to be doing the stripes. Again, this one has already dried for the sealer on it, and we're going to put the orange stripes on it. Now, I just use really simple, just your basic acrylic paint. I've just got a can of water here with a tiny little sponge, and I just put a little bit of orange paint on top of that sponge that's in the water. Again, guys, this is how I do a lot of my painting. I use my hands a lot, and this is just what works for me, okay? Okay, so you put a little bit of paint on the top, doesn't take much. And I put my fingers in the water. Put my fingers in the water, and I put my fingers in the paint, okay? Okay, it's as simple as this. All I'm going to do is start making some shadows up here. I'm just making some shadows with my fingers. Okay, just like this. All I'm doing is just putting some orange fall color in the background of this sign just to give it a little more depth, okay? You don't have to do this. The signs are very beautiful even without this. It just depends on the effect you want to go for, okay? I don't take it to the edge. I want my edges to still be white, so I try not to let the orange hit the white part. Okay, there you go, guys. Nothing fancy at all, just some orange color in there. Now I'm going to scatter it like this. See me scatter? I'm going to scatter like this to get it smooth. That's all I'm doing. I'm just smoothing it out. Okay, and there you go. We got that finished. So now I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to let that dry. Okay, so while this one's set aside to dry, we have this one that I've already done. It's already been sealed, already been sanded, already been one coated with the orange paint, and now it's already dry. So now we're ready to write. Okay, so now I'm going to do it similar to this one right here. Now you can use a paintbrush if you'd like. Sometimes I use paintbrush. Sometimes I use a paint pen. It depends. Today I think I'm going to use a paint pen, and I'll show you which one I'm using. There we go. There you go, paint pen. I love using paint pens. Sometimes if my hands are shaky, if I've had too much coffee in the morning and I'm supposed to be painting some lettering, a lot of times I might not use the paintbrush, and I'll go with the paint pen because I can handle it better than a paintbrush on those high coffee mornings. Okay, guys, I'm going to put this right here. Now I'm going to decide which way I want my orange to face. It doesn't really matter. This one will have some holes put in it. So I'm going to go with it facing this way. Okay. Again, guys, if you've never worked with a paint pen before, you need to shake it up really, really good. Shake it up really, really good. And these are, this right here, this orange part right here was acrylic paint, but now these paint pens are oil base. You can, I love them. You pop it off, see the tip of it? Okay, it's, whoa, did you see that? Hang on one second, guys. I'm throwing my stuff everywhere. Getting my head. Okay. Alright, what we want to do, you have to pump it. I'm going to set this up here so you can see what I'm doing. If you've never worked with a paint pen before, you're going to need to pump it. You'll push down on it and it'll pump it. What it's doing is pumping the paint from the bottom to the tip of the marker. It's paint in there, but it's like a marker tip. So here we go. You hear me sliding the stool all around. Okay, let's, I'm gonna have it say pumpkin patch. So, okay, so now you're probably thinking, wow, Pam, that does not look anything like that, right? Well, you're right. This is just my spacing for my lettering, so now I'm actually going to style it, okay? So all I'm going to do is just pick how I want to make my letters. I'm going to do it like this one, where each one has a double square at the end of it. So all I do is I go up here and I double square it. See that right there? See what I just did? So I'm going to do that on all of them. Okay, and I want my lettering to be up and down and up and down. And I just color it in. Now guys, you will notice that I am on a Lazy Susan because this works for me. This helps me to move things around as I need it, okay? Now guys, this paint in this paint pen will not dry as fast as, say, acrylic paint does when you're using a paintbrush, okay? So you want to keep your hands up and above it, okay? And just like coloring in a coloring book, you just